Alright, it's coming down to push come to shove here, so he actually ended up building 2 fighters up here, so he's got this fighter stacking and 1 bomber. And a little bit different here, so ultimately what I have this coming down to, let's see if I still have it up here. Assuming I get to build 4 land units, it's going to depend on what happens with Japan's bombing. I'm looking at them having a 59% with a small lead there. I'm going to go ahead and make them take it. I'm going to make them toss the dice. I thought about taking my transport and this infantry and then all my air and smashing it here. And there's a chance 1 round gets me a slight, 1 fighter less advantage, but I think the deal is still better if I just cap in here because it's just too close. I'll let him make the dice roll. So meanwhile, we're just gonna go ahead and take as much land as we can and prepare for Germany eventually coming down and U.S. coming in. So what I'm building, by the way, is 8 infantry, 1 artillery, and a couple transports. We're gonna get transports up and running while we can, and then pretty much if he waits a turn, I'm pretty much conceding. So we'll see if he chooses to wait a turn or not. Actually, oops. Let's see. He's going to be using that bomber to help attack. Let's make it challenging back here on this backside for him. We're just going to go ahead and do 1 there. Don't think we got anything else worth taking a shot at. And we could take a shot at bombing out there. But I think I want to protect every single hit point I can and make this battle as dicey as I can. So... And yes, I'm throwing another transport he could easily kill if he wanted to, but again, that means he's not killing Moscow, so I'll take every round he doesn't kill Moscow. Just check and make sure I got my defense profiles are set correctly. And just setting this up so that I can retake down here in Thailand if he decides to take it and whatnot, and just challenging him. He's not going to be coming through here this turn, so keep the cruiser there. We're going to keep the subs on station. Well, we can come back one and still dead zone those guys. Eventually we're going to bring them on up to help dead zone up here for any sea lions, but we're going to let the Americans get onto the spot first. Alright, I think that's it. Alright, let's see how he does. Alright, so looks like Japan, they bought an infantry, a fighter, and a complex. So they built a complex in Kazakh. Really quite smart, actually. I ain't gonna lie. That'll let him keep being able to produce land units with Japan. And since I'm going all in on Russia, if he wins, Japan's gonna stay fairly rich for a while. So not a bad play at all, I don't think. We're gonna see what we can do here, but this is gonna get definitely gonna get tight and interesting. The next round's gonna be very interesting. So I am gonna set up a very loose chance at a VC snipe next round. But like I said, it's gonna be loose. We're gonna do what we can. All right. So, any case, with US's money, I'm buying 4 infantry and an artillery for the islands. At least 2 spots left, which I'll put a fighter in one of those. Bomber's going to come back on the mainland, and we're going to put 1 more transport down. Since we will take Borneo and we are going to take New Guinea here, these zones are safe from any attacks. Interestingly, with the complex here, it makes it, as long as he holds the complex, 1, 2, 3, 4 for the fighters, 1, 2, 3, 4 for the fighters. So 2 fighters can stay, up to 4 fighters, if he's threatening to build 2 carriers at any one given time to catch 4 fighters. So an interesting little tidbit I never really thought about with having a factory right there off the 61C zone. All right, here we go. As much as I want to fly this fighter inland, I just do not trust that at all. We've seen how that's gone so far. We'll put that factory out of commission. Got that. Put the factory out. That's it. There we go. Get it over early. Thank you. So at least he won't be able to build there for a turn. He's gonna have to blitz tanks and different stuff for it, so to take it back. So I'm happy about that. Keep checking the rest of the board for what else I can move, but sadly that's all that we got there right now. So the good news is we're going to put a transport here, so we're going to have 1, 2, 3 transports that can come back here, plus these 2 transports can, we'll be able to pick up the 3 I put here and come back, as well as these 2 transports can go there, and these 2 transports can go that way. So it's going to give him some things he has to think about, which is the whole goal. Just double checking. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nowhere for him to go, so carrier should be safe there. Check defense profile. I know I just checked it, but just want to make sure we're all set. And cross our fingers. Alright. So, unfortunately, Moscow did not go well. He had a little bit, had a better than average shot, because it was a 60% or so. He should have hopefully been able to sacrifice some air in order to keep it. Instead, he's got all 7 tanks living and 6 of his air. He lost 1 fighter to the AA gun. So that's going to make things a little bit more challenging. So the other thing too is he noticed what I was setting up. So even with him taking this, I knew I was going to get here. I knew I was going to be able to get France, and I was hoping to walk into Italy. And by taking this guy, so that would take me to 10, he can blitz 2 tanks and hit me with air, but again, I got all these transports coming in. So it's going to come down to this for the win right now, most likely. And we'll see what happens. You know, if that doesn't happen, then we're in for a long game. So I bought 8 infantry, 2 fighters and artillery, 3 ground for here, get a couple air over with my boats. We're going to have to start building pretty fast on here, likely. So here we go. Poor. It's actually a 58% chance. Let's prove this computer wrong. Good news is I'm going to have quite a bit of money with these guys, grabbing these guys, plus having France still, so finances should be good at least. Come on, 2 hits, 2 hits, 2 hits, right off the bat, 2 hits. Ah. Oh, well, I can't even retreat now. Dang it. Long game it is.
was really hoping we could get an epic win right here. Now, so much. Let's see. So you got money wise 32. He thinking I gotta come back because I'm afraid of the Japan coming through here and trying to get more income. We're gonna have to contain that, so we're gonna have to bring the U.S. this way. All right, son of a gun.
Alright, so Japan took their turn. Interestingly enough, he did take Caucasus back with Japan, which may work to my advantage because now we're going to have a split income axis. So we're going to have two powers working on land units, which means he's going to have um, two country stacks moving, which hopefully maybe I can take that to my advantage as we try to build up down here with US and UK. He also is kind of given up the coast, the Pacific coast here. He moved everything inland, and that's where he's going to be producing units too. And a lot of times, control the center is a big part. So that's to his advantage that he's going to have 14 units a turn. Probably eventually, those two, 16 units a turn that he can be building right here in the center of the board. So that is going to be a bit of a concern. Now, I'm going to have 15 units coming in from the Americans and 3 from K trying to push that way. So it's going to get interesting to say the least, but we are going to try and eat up as much Japan money as we can and start working our way inward while UK, I'm pretty much going to make UK have to take care of Africa, which I'm debating whether to build a South Africa IC this time. If I can plug them up here enough and get them producing units down here, it might be worth it. I haven't decided that. I'm going to think on that a little bit more. But right now we're on US. So the other thing, interesting thing with the US is I want to put pressure points as many places as possible, including, these are pretty far from up here. So if I can get a little shuck going up in the north for a little bit and capture these units, that'll be appreciated as well. So we're going to try and do that to a degree. So buying 10 infantry, loading up down here. We got 9 spots. 1 or 2 of those infantry are coming back here. I am building an industry for Borneo because I do have the transports. And I'm actually going to build one more transport. And that's going to help me replace the one transport I'm going to go north with. So here we go. So interestingly, this really is going to turn into a total war battle. You know, UK up against Germany, US up against Japan. So UK is 59 versus 63. They had 55 income, they have 54 income. Yeah, 56 versus 40. I had the 52 income versus their 32 income. So we're pretty evenly balanced going into the same game. I mean, these are very low attack powers altogether because of that Moscow battle. So he's got a 20-point lead. Well, after my purchases, that's going to put another 10 points for me. So it'll be 109. So it's going to be a 10-point lead for him. Whereas, his income, his production is right now is 67 versus my 100. So hopefully I can hold that income long enough to make more out of it. So combat. So I'm going over here because then I can skip over back to the US with the infantry I'm going to be building next turn to catch up with them next turn. I'm grabbing as much as I can across here, leaving this one open. I'm only going to put light protection for this transport because this fighter can reach it. These two bombers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, could land in here and could reach it. But notice they can't get any other ground troops, so they have to put fighters and bombers. All they can land is air there. And I'm going to have, units along here and a transport or two transports possibly that could go and hit them, plus these individual units. So he's going to lose his air force if he goes for it. So I really am only worried about protecting against the fighter. Alright, that's right, we do want to... So another thing that we do need to discuss is Formosa. Formosa is going to actually become relevant in this game because with Formosa there, with me taking the coast here, it can feel safe, but the fighter here can go 1, 2, 3, land in Formosa. So normally I would have gone 1, 2, 3, he can't land anywhere, so I don't need to worry about the fighter. Or the bombers can go 1, 2, 3, 4, they can't land anywhere, but they can go 5, 6 and land in Formosa. So again, C-Zone 36 isn't quite free until Formosa is taken. C-Zone 61 isn't free of the inland fighter until Formosa is taken. Now, I don't think I'm going to worry about taking it this turn, though, because I feel like I've got enough forces coming up that I can hold myself without having to plug it in there this turn. Yeah. So I'm gonna have my loaded carrier here, so only the two bombers, 1, 2, 3, yeah, only the two bombers can reach there. So we'll be okay with a loaded carrier in 36, and these guys I'm gonna have enough other things to cover both the two fighters and two bombers. He can't do anything yet. The rest of these are going to be making landfall. actually. Okay, so yeah, so we're gonna change this just a little bit, thinking about it, because I really want my transports up here and get the guys to India as fast. Oop. He can't. None of his planes can reach here, so we're good there. I was planning on taking him, landing him in here, so that the transport could then reach over into Persia, but I can't protect 36 and 35 and 61 and this guy up here. We're gonna put 2 up there, so it's not a freebie for him. That leaves me 4 and a cruiser. Which is a little risky. I was only gonna have 1 transport in here. Now I got 2 transports sitting in there. So, in any case, I might think about this just a little bit after I'm gonna go ahead and pause the video, stop the video at this point. And that leaves it a 50-50 on the sea battle here with a 4 and 4 because of Formosa. In hindsight, I should just use that extra 1 to go ahead and take Formosa this turn. I was planning on bringing him over here, but now we're kind of limited in our protections here. So yeah, regret not thinking that all the way through at the combat phase. I should have just taken Formosa this turn. Units aren't doing anything special coming in to Kwangtung in here. It would have been better to go there. When I was setting everything up, I was thinking I had one of these zones free, but neither of these zones is free right now because of Formosa. So, that said, the other option is letting him do a bomber 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for one, 2, 3, yeah, for 1 transport, and then having to land his bomber again defenseless in here. So I think I'm going to change it up and use my transport just empty coming down in here instead. Yeah, we're just going to use a cruiser up here. I'm going back and forth trying to weigh all my options, and I'm not as critical about that transport. I'd rather make sure these transports are better protected. So we're just going to keep the 6 destroyers for his 4 and then send the cruiser up there as defense. Put more eggs in one basket than I was planning here, but so be it. Oh, so I started going on UK9, and I almost completely forgot about doing a recording here. So I already did my purchase, but nothing else yet. So round 9 German, 13 infantry, 3 artillery. He's very, very, very conservative, very smart with his purchases. building for the long game. He repaired Russia that he'd bombed earlier. Uh, France, Karelia, Northwest Europe, stacked France. Karelia will be able to trade, but he's setting up to stack it next turn. So he's setting himself up nicely. Um, at least for German. I mean, he's playing for the long game. I'm hoping that I got enough of a hook into it that I can stop it. The interesting thing that he did play is he brought his 4 uh, fighters down here, which immediately when I see something like that split away from the rest of his fleet, okay, so why? That's the question. Why would he move him here? So to me, this is obvious to Dead Zone C Zone 34 from the Americans because 4 fighters and the bomber can reach there, and the only coverage boat I can get there is this one carrier with 2 fighters. So it's like he's trying to get this dead zone because they can go 1, 2, 3, 4. Bomber can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they don't even have to land in the arc here, so that he can start bringing his guys in here. Now, that being said, I'm not sure that it necessarily needed to be done this round with them, unless he's got another plan going here, because I really can't transport anything into here anyways. I mean, I'm going to move my UK transport, who I thought was going to be dead at this turn anyways. But there's nowhere I can move in and be safe. So I'll move the UK transport down here, but otherwise, um, not a whole lot. Or actually, I might even move the UK out here, so he has to use the bomber to kill it and not use his bomber for any trading back Northwest Europe, which is a small thing, but whatever. Um, So I'm not planning on that transport surviving anyways, although I would like to have him down here. That'd be fantastic. His fighter's here, dead zone 34, so I can't really cover it. I can't bring any transports there. I plan on trying to get set up to where I had transports here, so I was transporting directly, 34 to 37, but with him bringing his air in the center of the board here, that's going to be tough without a lot of fleet, so I don't have to bring these guys around, which may make it hard for me to land on the coast here. So it's going to be hard for me to plug this. I think it's inevitable that he's going to get a bleed, which means I'm not going to build the South Africa. I was kind of thinking about South Africa factory, but I'm not going to be able to plug this. He's going to bleed through. No reason to build a factory that he's going to get some turns on. But I am going to go ahead and start planning on trying to get some units coming on down this direction and start challenging, hopefully, um, Africa. The good news is with the U.S. having the side here, 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So just the coast. If I maintain the coast, that's 10 IPC plus trading a little bit inwards. So 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So really, he's got to get all the way up except for South Africa just to balance what I'm getting here. So that's the good news side of it. So if he sends everything that way, then I'm going to continue to eat up value in this side. So, any case, I went ahead. I made my purchases. I bought 3 infantry and artillery. Probably gonna put 2 infantry and artillery here. Maybe the artillery. I haven't really decided. Doesn't really matter. 3 are gonna go down here. 1 is going in here, and I'll explain that in just a moment. And then I went ahead and built another carrier that I'm going to put up here, a transport and a couple of fighters. I'm going to need more coverage up here regardless. That's just a fact. And I'm going to need more fighters because fighters can loop around and get down here to help out down here the quickest into the um, Persia, Transjordan, Egypt sector. So we're going that way as fast as I can there. I went ahead and built another transport so I can go ahead and get some more usage here. So um, I want to have 8 units sitting here. I currently have 8 sitting here. So if I use 2 of them, that'll take me to 6. And I'm building 1 will take me to 7, so I'm going to be 1 short. But nonetheless, we'll be able to mostly get my transports filled. And then, again, like we talked about, the carrier set is a good defensive buy, plus it's going to let me have that offense in here. So at this point, I'm going to choose it over destroyers for protecting against the inevitable German Air Force. Oh, shoot. Oh my goodness. I forgot I had already hit the end phase from by, and I did not do my combat move. Son of a gun. So, oh, that's frustrating. So frustrating. Well, now this isn't even going to do any good because it's a free kill no matter where he goes. At least over here he has to land his bomber over here away from my guys. Oh, can't believe I did that. Oh, I'm going to hate myself on that for a while. Now, shoot. He's going to have 13 units, plus he could land his fighters there. I mean, it's pretty much dead zone. Son of a gun. That's not even really doing me any good. Well, maybe I'll give him something to think about at least. Because I'll have 4 fighters, 8 units, plus a 6. So that'll be 18 units that I can hit Corellia with. I mean, he's got all his tanks. I mean, he can protect it, but... Oh my goodness, I'm going to be hating myself for that one for a while. I haven't done something like that in a while now. Well, just in case he just thinks about taking a cheap shot with 2 bombers on the fighter there. Well, that's the end of this turn. Uh, I know we've all done it. We've done it before, but never makes it easier. Okay, going on US 9. I had 60 IPC to start with. Jump back to Japan's turn. They bought 4 infantry, 2 artilleries, 1 bomber. Combat. Tried to take Onwai with 1 infantry, 2 bombers, 1 fighter to C-Zone 34 to kill the transport. Oh, and Transjordan. So pretty simple movements. Yay, we killed his infantry, so it didn't take Onwai. Otherwise, everything was pretty straightforward there. More importantly is his, when I look at Japan, it's where are all his bombers and fighters. So he's got a bomber fighter over here on Tokyo. He's got 2 bombers and a fighter over here. We still got to worry about Formosa to a degree. Actually, this turn is not really that big of a deal because even his fighters 1, 2, 3, 4, it can't get anywhere. 1, 2, 3, 4, can't do anything. Bombers don't need to use it, so Formosa is actually not too important this particular turn, but eventually it may become an issue, and I do want to keep that in mind because when U.S. is grabbing the land here, you got to watch for these drops from a distance. So that being said, I'm a little bit of a conundrum. and the fact that yes, he's got a pretty good stack here, followed by the Germans to be working into Africa. So he's obviously going to go in there. At the same point, we do need to make sure we try to defend India because we don't want to lose India. The bombers, since he's got control of the Middle East here, the bombers can go from Tokyo and around here. So any bombers he builds right now, when he's got this position, means they can go Tokyo to here, and all these sea zones are going to be uh, picked on by it. Meanwhile, this bomber can reach through Borneo, and a bomber here can reach to DEI. So there are no free sea zones now, which means I gotta condense in, especially since I don't have that much um, sea units going. Same point, I gotta make sure I continue to dead zone the sea zones. Don't want some nasty Japan Navy all of a sudden appearing. Now he's only got what 25 IPC for um, Japan there, so the worst you could do is what maybe a carrier destroyer fighter. So I'm not gonna get far enough away that I can't do anything there, although I am eyeing the idea of eventually trying to get into Sea Zone 34 with my fleet, so I need to be ready when I do that to still dead zone over here. So not this turn, something to be thinking about in the future turns. I want to be able to set up the ability to come here and crush any of his units. So he's got his stack here. It'll have to go to here. So there's one turn. Here's another turn. Here's another turn that they'll always be susceptible to quick attack. So I'm going to get my transports into 36 so I can be threatening them at any point. But at the same time, I need to be building up enough navy in here to be able to jump over to Sea Zone 34 and not have all my transports get plastered because he's got bombers as well as German Air Force that can get in there. So I need to build up some more navy kind of seriously here with the Americans. So what do we say? Carrier fighter groups the number one. So we're going to build a fighter and a carrier this turn to match the fighter that's already out there. And we'll be placing them into the mix and then setting up. I'm leaning towards putting them in 37, even though there's two bombers that can reach there versus only one that could reach Borneo. Um, just because either way, a fighter or a carrier and two fighters should be good. So otherwise, I do have my extra transports. I'm going to bring one back, so I might leave him lightly defended. So rest of the buy, I got 10 infantry, one tank. I want to get the tank on the mainland to give me a little more flexibility where there's very few units in this arch, and he's focusing on going this way at the moment. I'm going to keep him make half the focus that way. But I do want to keep building some units into here and try and take what I can up here. I do want to get a factory here. I mean, that's just a nice 3 square for a factory. I don't have enough money this turn. I mean, I could, but then I couldn't do my carrier that I really want to get to start getting some protection to try and get into 34 or even 33. So so the factory's gonna have to wait a turn. I'm gonna keep them split so that he's only got one that could attack either or. If I made it 0, then he could easily go into one or the other for the points. So we're just gonna keep them split that way. I decided I'm just gonna leave these guys stranded. Utilize this turn to go ahead and just get that taken care of. And man, I do need to remember my bomber. I forgot my bomber last turn, so I need to get my bomber over into the action. That was another frustrating mistake. In addition to forgetting my UK move, I forgot to move my bomber. So that wasn't the only frustration I had. And let's see here. Feel like that's the only attacks I got, as I recall. I mean, I could go in here, but anything I send would get killed right now. and I'm just going to have to kind of concede. I'm going to have to give up a fair chunk of Africa, which means UK is going to have to survive on its own for a little bit. Unfortunately, I mean, we're going to contest it, but we're going to lose first, and then we're going to come back and win it. Make sure I don't skip my non-combat phase. Don't need any more stupid mistakes. I think. We bring in the cruiser back down. He does have fighter, 3 bombers. 3 bombers can reach here. So carrier, 2 fighters, 2 destroyers. That gives me 5 units. I feel pretty with 2 hitting on 4, so I'm pretty comfortable against 3 bombers there. Here, 3 bombers and a fighter. I'm half tempted, and I'm just going to end the video for this turn after this, and we'll explain what we end up doing. The one thing I just want to sit and think about is move the entire stack into here to be ready to move, and that way I can move 1 cruiser to protect my transport and let him take a shot, and maybe that cruiser is 50-50 and takes out a fighter. I mean, right now I do have a couple extra transports, which I want to build up my transports, so I don't necessarily want to lose it, but at the same time, I'd be more comfortable with more Navy here, ready to go this direction. I'm going to think about it, and I'll make that decision before the turn ends. Okay, so here we go with UK 10. Germany, it's wrong button. Here we go, Germany. They bought 3 bombers and then 3 infantry, so I was kind of dreading the time when they start doing the build for the bombers, and so we're gonna have to get into the building battle here, so to speak, between the UK Navy and the Germany Air Force. So keeping up with the Joneses. The good news is because Germany's locked in their income, they're coming in at an income of 45, and right now UK is sitting at 38. Plus, I'll be able to take France if I choose to, so that'll get me at 44. So I'm kind of even Steven building there, whereas US obviously has the advantage on Japan. So, a build battle in the state that we're at is not necessarily a horrible thing for UK. So basically my choices are to stay in here, take France cheaply, and build. I have to max build my fleet though here, so I either have to be able to loaded carrier so that I'll have 3 loaded carriers in the destroyer versus 5 fighters and 4 bombers, or I could do 4 destroyers. um, but uh, that'd save me a little bit of IPC. Slightly better on that value for total defense per IPC, but again, I like building up the fighters because I can use them elsewhere when I no longer need the Navy. So I can build a loaded carrier and just take France, or I had the option of taking the whole thing down here, get some units into Africa, reinforce that. But what that does is because he did move to Northwest Europe and put one of the bombers there, he can still reach here. So I do got to bring the fleet down. Even these bombers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's the one downfall of him having Gibraltar. These bombers can reach sea zone 23 too, so I really would have to protect my fleet fully. And if I do that, then that means leaving that possibility for a Sea Lion build. Now, that being said, I could put build 3 fighters this turn in UK, and I can move my US bomber over to India, who can then reach Sea Zone 5 to Norway and pretty much kill. He wouldn't be able to get a Sea Lion at the end of all that said, because then I'd have 44 points to build the next turn, or excuse me, 38 points to build 6 infantry and 2 fighters, plus bringing our fighters back, plus bringing my land back. So, the Sea Lion wouldn't be a threat yet, still at that point. So that's a possibility, is just come down here, reinforce down here. But, seeing France as a 6 pointer, and I'm going to have to build this fleet at some point, and I'm leaning towards just go ahead and sacrifice some Americans to cut this off at Egypt at least. Um, so I'm thinking I'm just going to take France, take the free money, take it real lightly, because obviously if I dumped all 8 pieces in here, he's got all this air. He's just going to kill it effectively, very efficiently. So there's no real advantage to me stacking heavy or trying to stack heavy here. He's going to wipe it out at a bargain, and then I have nothing left because I got to build fleet. So that's the plan. These guys are in trouble. That's one of the things in the KJF. A lot of times you got to be careful up here in Finland, because you can get outnumbered, overwhelmed pretty easily. So we're going to retreat back, and that's the other reason I want to stay back up here, so that next turn I can always come up to 6 and save them, so to speak, and bring them on back at least, rather than just letting them just get squashed up there in Norway and Finland. So we're going to stay here, so we can rescue them next turn, as well as just we got to build the fleet anyways and get that free 6 IPC. So first thing we do need the fully loaded carrier, so we got to build it from scratch. And then down here, let's give them a little bit of offensive firepower and give them an artillery down here to help try to neutralize Persia here eventually. So we're just going to take the 1 infantry and we're just going to drop him in there. I think that's our only attack actually this turn. I do want to bring my cruiser back and my AA gun back. We don't have enough to attack there, so that's really our only attack. Two, three, four. He's got those 7 tanks there. And he's got the 1 Japan guy, so he could do a hit the UK and use his excuse me, his air, and then blitz his German tanks through. So we'll make it at least be hopefully a little costly if he does that, and that way don't have an uneven number of transports to rescue. We only need 2 transports to rescue, and hopefully we can rescue those guys next turn. Alright, so let's see. We want to bring him over. We're hoping 50-50 that he gets a hit on one of these guys. We could use that nice advantage. I do want to keep bringing my subs around, because that'll also help me later deter any potential Sea Lion thoughts at all, and give these guys a little bit more free reign to reinforce Africa. That being said, I'm not going to move them all completely out, because I just want a dead zone to, or have them threatening 16 here too, so that Japan doesn't start deciding they want a navy again for some reason. So we're just going to have them hang out here. I think 3 is going to be good enough to get up here, and 3 down here to help hold that. So that's one of the things think I forgot to mention. I kept saying in my head and kept saying, okay, remember to say, um, once we've won this specific battle, one of the other priorities for me is to neutralize all the ports for Axis, because the only way Axis can win is they have to get off the mainland. They have to take either UK or Hawaii or somehow USA or Philippines. So they have to get off the mainland. They have to get a fleet. So we want to get neutral. And if they have no fleet, which, right now Axis has no boats whatsoever, then subs are completely safe wherever they go. So I can get some subs up here, in C zone 7 or 6 or 3 that can dead zone 4, as well as the Baltic with some air support. Get a couple subs here in the med to help hold that area. And then, of course, we're going to have the U.S. his job to keep it neutralized over here. And actuality, it's going to leave them off. I'm going to keep them parked right here in 15, I think. In case they decided Germany build one to make a blocker for Japan or some cheeky play. Eventually, they've got to figure out a navy. So we're going to park them right here for right now. Unfortunately, I hate to have these guys just sit here and these transports really not, the other 3 transports do nothing good. But that's what we're going to do. That was what his 3 bomber buy made me do, I should say. So bring my loaded carrier. Give me an artillery down here. I want to make sure it's kind of thin there. So I want to make sure that I'm not a fighter before carrier in Kingdom on UK. I want this to be carrier before fighter because it's running it kind of thin. It does run the risk of him doing a 1-round strafe. Hopefully I do as much damage as he does, and I'll do the whole build battle thing, like I said, with him if I have to. So uh, I might think about US if they've got a little extra money putting a destroyer.
All right, so here we go with US 10. As usual, quick highlight of Japan. He bought 4 infantry, 2 artillery. He's placed them down here in the center of the board. Combat. He did go ahead and take out the cruiser transport that I had here. Took out Sichuan and of course puts this tank to Egypt here. Good news out of that is he did lose a fighter on that, so to me that's advantage me. It was an extra transport. It was a cruiser for UK. It was making things awkward on the movements anyway, so I'm okay with that. Not upset about that at all. The big thing here is this is making, keeping an eye on Japan here. Pretty soon, this fighter is not going to be able to reach back to Japan, and the bombers can, but he's getting himself into a very isolated position here. If I can continue to hold the coast and continue to slide in a couple more transports as I plan on doing, I might be able to get a surprise shot on Tokyo at some point. We'll see. Probably not, but it's always a possibility that we keep an eye out for. But meanwhile, the bigger thing here to me is I've got a shot on Persia. So, and he's got some high value targets in there. And I'm just going to let these guys slide for right now. I'm going to take care of them. But with my 12 infantry, 4 fighters, and my bomber that can reach here, um, I'm okay with it. You run the calculator, it's a positive net value for me of like 12 IPC. Even if round 1 doesn't go as well as I'd like, I have the option to retreat 4 of them. Obviously, the infantry will continue in, so I'll probably go 2 rounds, and I can always retreat my air and 4 of my infantry at least, if need be. I just think it's too big of a chunk of his units, plus these high valuable targets with this air and whatnot to not target. The thing I have to be careful about is he does have 4 German bombers that can reach C Zone 34, and if things don't go well, he'll have 3 Japan bombers and 1 fighter that can reach there, which 2 loaded carriers and 4, maybe 5 destroyers is more than enough in C Zone 34 to hold that off. Meanwhile, I'm only using 4 of my transports. I still want to use 2 of them, so that makes good for picking up Formosa and these 3 odd number guys. So we're going to come up here and we're going to build what I can probably count on one hand how many times I've done it, but we're going to build a battleship up here in C Zone 61. Main reason being we're going to have at least 1 destroyer, uh, probably 2 that come to C Zone 61 as well. So worst case scenario, he has 3 bombers live. Best case scenario, there's only 1 bomber, and the battleship by itself should do well to protect those 2. Plus, it gives me a battleship for, like I said, possible attack on Tokyo at some point in the future. I like the fact that he's generally putting units in the center of the board is very strong, and it's not that it's not strong here, but he doesn't have a lot of air force. I'm hoping we'll get a shot to take it out. Otherwise, we'll continue to build along here and continue to push towards Moscow, hopefully, at some point. That's our in-game strategy. So there we go. So other purchases, I am going to go ahead and buy 2 transports. I want to get 2 transports here with 2 more land units. So I got 4 here targeting C Zone 34 next turn as well for these guys coming or just taking Egypt back. So we're going to have 2 transports coming in. Of course, we're going to have to watch how we plant things. If we do have a failure here, then we've got bombers that can reach C Zone 37. Absolute worst case scenario, things just go all out of the haywire, and I can't move enough destroyers around to cover the transports drop, and I can always drop them back over in the USA and utilize them that way. So here we go. Oh yeah, so 2 transports, the battleship. I'm gonna get me a fighter to start helping out a little bit too, and a few infantry. We don't have to pick up too many infantry because we're not using our transports to shuck these guys. Well, these 6 guys at least. So we're gonna have room for them, so we get to buy shiny units this turn. All right, so here we go. Come on. Come on. There we go. Gonna grab some land. I'm gonna go for the 101. I plan on dropping 2 and 2 into here, so we'll be defended at least. We'll have backups in case it doesn't work, but a chance to take out a Japan unit's good and possibly grab a point. He did, kind of create the stack up here, so only so much I can do there at this point. And double checking. The other 2 infantries are going to be non-combat. I think that's it. The big one is this guy right here. I got a good feeling on the dice. I think this is going to be a big battle. This is going to be a big swingy battle right now. Unlikely. Well, we're still pushing forward. If I remember right, average is going to be like 5 hits on either side. That wasn't 5 hits. Oh, that wasn't 5 hits either. Alright, well, let's get rid of these guys. That was so bad. All right, I'm gonna take a pause for a second. I gotta double check India now. Hey, oh well for that good feeling. Hey, okay. So definitely don't want to go another round because there's a good chance he's gonna get more than 3 hits. So I really don't want to risk my air because I need them for protecting the fleet. So we've gotta retreat. Good. Notice I did take the ones attacking amphibious first because those can't retreat. So something to remember anytime you have things go bad with an amphibious assault, make sure to take the amphibious ones out first. I can't seem to close this game. Yay, a little victory. I will have to take what I can get. So we're gonna risk one of the transports with just a destroyer versus bomber. Again, just hoping I can slowly pick off his air, I guess. Um, Not exactly the situation I was hoping for at this point. Oh well for that good feeling, right? That's what I get for having a good feeling and saying it. But the other one we're going to put over here in US so that we can just start bringing these two infantry down here to help contain the mess that's going to become of Africa now. At least we'll have our bomber and the two infantry so that maybe we can pick off something as you come along. Alright, here we go. Let's check my plans here too. Son of a gun. Where do I want to put the men at now? I suppose I could do both there. Yeah. As much as I hate it, don't want to. Why waste the possibility? Let's put both over here. Care about the AAA, but we'll let the those come into play. And let's see now down here. Let's keep getting ground on there. Get our 3 ground here for those 2 transports to be able to pick up. And we'll get a fighter on over here. Alright, there we go. Not exactly what I'd hoped for, but let me keep on playing.